Thank you, Michael, and welcome everybody. Just I guess to rehash last week's game against Baylor, I thought was just pleasing to play so well in the second half. Really, overall, I thought our defense settled down and really played great the whole second half. And not that they played very poorly in the first half, but just was even sounder in the second half. And then offensively, we got the run game and pass game going kind of both together. And Sam had another excellent day passing for just shy of 400 yards. And I thought some other guys, Brandon Caleb, really had a nice day, over 100 yards receiving, made some nice catches. The running backs ran really well. Anytime you run for over 200 yards, that's a positive. DeMarco Murray, one of our players of the game, with Sam and Brandon Caleb and Trent Williams up front, really did well. No turnovers. I thought our line play was better overall. That was a positive. And I thought our special teams really played good again. We had a good number of kickoffs and, punting the ball. Tress didn't have a lot of opportunities, but had a couple that he had a chance to down inside the 10. Weren't able to do it, but he hit the ball well, and Jimmy Stevens with a good number of field goals and extra points was solid. So it was a good win, and it leads us to Texas, which, is always an exciting and great game, a great, atmosphere to compete in, playing against an excellent football team. They're off, as always, off to a great start. And, our focus being, last week, our first Big 12 game, in the conference, everybody's, in about the same position. So, this isn't a big game, obviously, with, the Big 12 South. That's kind of how our season always begins, regardless of what the media is usually talking about. For us, a major factor is winning the South and winning the Big 12 championship. And, this is a major game and a major step in getting to that position. And it was always an intense and great rivalry. You look back through the years, but I think they made it even more so when they put us in the same division, in the same conference. It just made it that much more of a rivalry. So, and you look at, representing the South in the championship game, and over the years since we've been here, that's between us and Texas, that's, happened, pretty regularly, and that's, that's something that you're focused on and wanting to be the champion of your conference. So that to me has always been why this game has been so big. And anyway, it is again this year. So it's a big challenge, but an exciting one. Again, I know our guys are excited and fired up about it. And we had an excellent practice yesterday, kind of just to start things off leading into the week.
You had all those drops in the first half. Is it a mental thing with your receivers? Did they catch them in practice?
They do, but again, I think it's just some inexperience. I think the more you're out there, the more comfortable you become in those situations and in those competitive situations. And I think eventually you settle down and you see it a little bit better and can execute it a little bit better.
Bob, your offensive line will continue to get younger with Brian out. Any concerns there? Those guys played enough for you already that you just
no, nobody's played enough already. But Ryan hasn't been ruled out yet. But
no, Brian Simmons.
Oh, you're saying the line? I thought you were talking when you said Ryan. I was started to think of receivers. Brian Simmons, yeah, with him out, those other guys. Again, we have what we have. They have to step up and play and be more consistent. We've seen it. At different times through this year But we've also seen some of the inconsistencies, so it's just playing, more consistent and playing at a great level. That's all you can say, is continue to develop them.
Coach, any negatives at all from Sam playing the whole game?
No, it was great to see him on Sunday, and he said, "No, shoot," he goes, "I feel fine. I don't feel any different than I did last week. Going through the week." So. We didn't anticipate throwing 49 balls, but you don't anticipate getting 100 snaps either. So in the end, it just worked out, and we kept in touch with him through the game, how he was feeling, and he was feeling fine. So that's a positive, and would only expect him hopefully to make some improvement this week.
With all the atmosphere and surroundings around this game, is it more important to have Sam back for a game like this? No slight on Landry, but how much more important is it?
No slight on Landry, but on any game, how can you not you know, the guy last year was the best player in college football. How can he not make a difference? Sure he does. Absolutely he does. And in the end, you know, again, you're not talking about just any old guy. He's been pretty special over and over.
Bob, your defense got, 5 scoreless halves, which is, some teams don't get that in a season. Yet people think about 2 drives. Is this kind of a game of maybe a stamp of validation for them, perhaps?
Well, I don't. Sure, you know what. We've got experience back, and we've got good players. We've got an excellent front, so you have to play well in this kind of game. Definitely, it could be. You know, it is. You know, the defense is going to have to step up and play well if we're going to have a good chance to win.
Coach, Texas has 3-year letterman practically across the whole offensive line. Is this one of their better offensive lines?
Sure, it's a very good offensive line and experienced, as you said, and you know, they've got excellent players up there. So you know, the part that that you feel positive about is that we feel we are on the defensive line also. So that's a big matchup.
Bob, has the defensive front four played up to your expectations of them?
You know, for the most part, yes. Again, you'd like to, in some situations, when you've had 2 losses, you'd like to have been a little bit better, you know, whether you come up with a sack or a tackle for loss in a key situation. But overall, yes.
The Miami game, the way they were able to run the ball, did that give you any concerns about?
Well, but again, sometimes it's not the front 4. You're not going to stop anybody's run with 4 guys. So.
How would you say they compare with the front 4s you've had here?
They're one of our better ones.
Yeah.
So how about in the 2 losses last year, how important was not being able to stop plays in the middle of the field, late in passes? You know, how big of a factor in the losses was that?
Well, it's a factor. Not being able to stop a pass, whether it's in the middle or outside or anywhere. You know, in the end, it's it's being in position to make plays. Sometimes we were in position to make plays and didn't make them. So in the end, it's a factor. You gotta make play on the ball when it's thrown.
So how do you get better in that? Is it scheme, or is it skill level? Is it execution? Or?
A little bit of every one of those.
Bob, is Jordan Shipley the one guy you almost have to take away, or at least try to?
Well, you have to try to, but definitely you can't deny his production and not only this year, last year, he's been an excellent player for them and always is a focus for them. So sure, you're aware and do the best you can to defend them and without sacrificing yourself in other areas. That's always the game.
What have you seen from Colt as you watch him play? Because even though he's completing a great percentage of passes, but people who follow them are saying he's not quite playing the way they had hoped.
Well, I don't know who they would be, but he's pretty. He's playing great, I believe, and watching him and numbers or sometimes they're just all different on how the game goes. I think he's throwing the ball great. He looks every bit as good as what you saw a year ago, and he runs around well. He's got excellent feet on top of having the great accuracy and ability to to make the right reads and get the ball where it needs to be.
Bob, does their defense look better this year than last year, even though they lost like 3 starters up front in the D-line?
Yeah, but I think they look still every bit as active and aggressive as they were a year ago. So and physical up front. So I don't see a lot of difference. As far as anyone who thinks there was a drop off, I think they look really solid.
What gets you going most about the atmosphere surrounding the game?
What gets you most is just probably the importance of the game. In your league and having a step towards a Big 12 championship, that kind of thing. So the rest of it I don't participate in. Just see a bunch of people yelling at you on the bus as you pull in, and outside of that, then you're on the field and you don't really pay much attention to it.
Texas has been productive in the return game, both kickoffs and punts. How do you feel about your special teams going into this?
Well, so far we've been very solid. Much more so than maybe a year ago with our special teams. But again, it's another challenge. You got to do it every week, and they have had some big explosive plays in the return game. So it's something that we're very focused on and working on all week.